Hi folks, in this video we will be working on section 4.2, example 3. We will be adding and subtracting radicals. To add or subtract like radicals, we must add or subtract the coefficients and keep the radicand the same. So let's make sure we understand what that means. First of all, like radicals are radicals that have the same index and the same radicand. So for example, over here, we have 3 and 3, so we have matching indexes, and we have a radicand, which is 5 in both cases. So that means these two are like radicals, and we could add or subtract them no problem. So let's look at our first example. 3a asks us to add or subtract the following. We have 6 times the square root of 3 plus 2 times the square root of 3. Now remember, we have to add or subtract the coefficients. So the coefficients in this case are 6 and 2, right? It's the number that's multiplied by the square root of 3. And we just need to add those together. So we go ahead and we write 6 plus 2, and we put it in brackets because both of these numbers must be multiplied by the square root of 3. Now all we have to do is add 6 and 2 together, which is 8, and 8's now 8 times the square root of 3, and that's it. Let's try the next one. In 6b, we have the same radicals. We have 6 times the square root of 3 and 2 times the square root of 3, so we know we have like radicals, we have matching indexes, matching radicands. This time we are subtracting instead of adding. It's almost the identical process, except we're going to subtract the coefficients. And of course the coefficients are 6 and 2. And we multiply that by the square root of 3. And then one extra step to do the actual subtraction. 6 minus 2, of course, is 4. So we have 4 times the square root of 3. Let's look at C. In the case of C, we have a slightly different situation. We have 6 times the square root of 2 plus 4 times the square root of 5. So our indexes match. These are both square roots. But notice our radicands are not the same. Therefore, these are not like radicals. And because they're not like radicals, we cannot add. It's just not allowed. There's no way to add two unlike radicals. So that's it. You're done C. Let's look at D. We have 6 times the square root of 2 plus 4 times the square root of 5 plus 3 times the square root of 2 minus the square root of 5. So we have both addition and subtraction happening, and we have all the same indexes, but notice we have two different radicands. We have 2, but we also have 5. So in order to do this question, it's a good first step to kind of group the like radicals together. So I'm going to rewrite this first as 6 times the square root of 2 plus 3 times the square root of 2. So now I've grouped my like radicals. Both of these have an index of 2, and both of them have a radicand of 2. Then what's left? 4 times the square root of 5 minus the square root of 5. So let's write plus 4 times the square root of 5, and don't forget the sign, minus the square root of 5. So now I can go ahead and I can add these two together, and I can add these two together. So I won't end up with just one single mixed radical. I'll have 2. So 6 times the square root of 2 plus 3 times the square root of 2 would be written as 6 plus 3. So that's taking each of the coefficients, adding them together. We put a bracket around it and write it next to the square root of 2. And then we have 4 minus, now if there's nothing written here, right, it's really a 1. Don't forget that. Don't just write 4 and forget about the fact that you also are subtracting 1 times the square root of 5. So we write 1 here, put another bracket, and then we write the square root of 5. So now, last but not least, we can simplify what's inside our brackets. 6 plus 3 is 9 times the square root of 2 plus 4 minus 1 is 3 times the square root of 5. So we were able to do some addition and subtraction in this question, but we have to be careful to make sure that when we do that, we're actually adding or subtracting like radicals.